You know, I almost had to miss a week of seeing you guys. I am so incredibly busy, but busy on something that I know that you are going to love. But I can't say anything yet. So, any guesses? Leave a comment. But you know, I just felt so guilty I couldn't go a week without seeing you. So please don't make me beg for a like and subscribe this week. I would just really appreciate it. But since you all love the vintage scene that I did a couple of weeks back and asked to see more of the project, I wanted to loop back around to do that and to cover a part 2 of a few more shots that I had done all with actually one light. And the shots in this scene are done with one light, and it all comes back down to the simplicity of things and not overthinking and, you know, trying to be too extreme with the lighting setup. So if you're over there with just one light, there's so much possible with just one light. At first, when I first started and I only had one to work with, I was like so discouraged that other people had this huge arsenal to work with, but it challenged me to think critically and efficiently. So all of this is one light, some modification done to the lighting to get some different shots, but let's dive in to cover that with the first step, and that is Haze. No, but really, I did certainly exaggerate the amount of haze, and that partially was a creative choice, but I really also wanted to heavily accent the hard light coming through the window and the hard light coming from the film projector. So I definitely was generous with the haze, kind of as I usually am. Also, to add to this vintage bloomy look and feel, I added a Tiffin Black Promist 1/8 strength to my Sigma 18-35 lens. And the one light that I used for this was just a daylight fixture, an Aperture 300D Mark II. And for all of these shots, I had brought it outdoors, outside behind those blinds in that window, and I threw on a Fresnel 2X attachment to it. Now, hard light can be difficult and be difficult to look flattering, but as far as the direction goes for this one light outside, I wanted to place it in a direction to where you're still getting a little bit of that Rembrandt triangle, especially for as we move into the tights to keep consistency. And also with the significant amount of haze that we added here, haze actually does soften up light, you know, a little bit, not extreme amounts, but it does add a rounded off finish to your hard light. So something to be mindful of, especially when you're working on a scene that's gonna have haze. So referring to the wide shot, that is all that I had. I just had that one light outside punching in through the window and through the haze onto Sarah with the projector on, and that was it. That's entirely all that I had in the frame. And then for this opposite shot of just a shadow on the wall, I wasn't planning to do that, but I had just turned around and saw the shadow of the projector on the wood trim, and I was like, oh my God, I need to get that. So be aware and be mindful and be open to new shots. And that too was just the 300D punching in through the window, past the projector onto the wood trim. And I was like, wow, this really adds to the texture, the grittiness, the story. It's awesome. So I was super excited about that shot. And then I wanted to move in for a tight to show Sarah's expressions as she's reacting to what she is watching. And to do that, I also just wanted this softness, this really smooth, rounded off, soft look to it that I wasn't gonna get with the hard light. So I kept the hard light outdoors exactly where it was, so the direction is going to be the same, but as far as the light quality, I put a sheet in front of that for diffusion right outside of frame. So now the light source is a lot larger, which means it's gonna be a lot softer wrapping around her face. And yes, it is definitely a change in light quality as you're moving from the wide into the tight. But as we're moving in from the wide to the tight, it's not gonna be an extremely drastic difference. The light direction isn't changing. It's just the light quality and the softness on Sarah's face. And lastly, I had this idea in my head of the sun punching in through the window and through the projector and through the reel as it was spinning the film around, with the flare going in and out. So I did exactly that. But when we are backlit, there's no other ambient light in the room to bounce back on the front side of this projector, and I really wanted to show off the details on the front side or on the near side relative to the camera. So to do that, I took that sheet that I just used for diffusion, and I brought that around just to wrap and bounce the light back onto the front side. So I'm not really sandwiching it in. I'm more so just helping ease around that corner on the frame right, just to add in a little bit more exposure on the front side of the projector, because that thing is super cool and I love it. So that was my mindset behind getting a little bit more lighting without actually bringing in additional lighting onto that projector. But all in all, once again, I'm very happy with these shots as well. we were battling the sun as it went down, and we were losing light really fast. So it was crucial to think fast and act fast with my lighting setup and not overcomplicate things and do things that are going to take a significant amount of time and energy. So don't overcomplicate things. If you're working with just one light, this is proof that you can do so much with it. And there's plenty of other videos on this channel of lighting setups with one light. So that is all that I have for you guys today. I hope it was entertaining yet educational, so on and so forth and beyond. But I will see you next week, and class is dismissed.